Hi guys, welcome back to Stonewall Sword. It's Hexy. I know I said I was going to try to stream some of this play, but I got too wrapped up in it, and I went ahead and played it on out because like I said, I got wrapped up in it, and I couldn't stop, so I went ahead and finished it. So, take a quick look at how everything finished on the board here. I will say this. Now, this was just a scenario. The game could use a few more of the shaken disrupted counters. Probably about another. I mean, I could take them from one of the other games, but probably maybe another 4 or 5 counters. Maybe even a few more than that, depending on how things are going. Because to rally these things, there's certain points where you can do it, or you got to use a certain mode for the brigade in order to rally. They can rally after a defensive fire, but their rally's less effective, but they can do it. And unfortunately, most of the time I was on the attack because I needed to get into some close combats. So this scenario here, I'm going to say, I mean, the approach for the Union here for Banks is you've either got to hit this right side. You almost got to. There's not enough troops for them to shift everything over and hit this right side and try to take these victory locations. All right, or maybe hit this left side and take these victory locations. It's going to be one or the other. The only attack that really got underway was Crawford over here, but when they started the game, Gordon's back here, so Crawford's brigade was by himself on the attack, and they were okay in that first turn until Winder and Ronald's brigade just slapped him back in the face. And so Crawford got to here along this line right here and took this victory location right here. But they were never, ever again moving forward with that brigade. Gordon tried to come in and help, even shifted some of Prince's stuff in here to help. All right, now there's another rule in this game that I didn't catch it till the last 2 turns. You have what's called supported or unsupported. So, for example, this unit right here, Taliaferro, he's sitting there by himself. He has no friendly units around him. He is unsupported. And that is a cohesion minus for your cohesion rating adjustment. So his 4 cohesion, whenever it's required to be used, would be a 3. Units that are in woods are not supported, no matter whether they're beside somebody or not. This is a very interesting and a very good rule. I thought it is. Once the last 3 turns I played with it, I was using it. So it's a very good rule because it can actually change what happens on a dice roll because of that. So it affects everything. Actually, cohesion does. And I had some attacks where when you go into an attack and you got if you've got a Confederate unit with a cohesion of 5 and he's close assaulting a Union unit of a cohesion 4, and he's not in support, but the Union regiment is, all right, well, that Confederate guy's going to take that 1 cohesion hit, and he's not going to get any plus in the combat results for it. So you got to keep that in mind while you're playing. Never could recover these Union units. Crawford, I did try to recover him. Never got to rebuild anything and bring it back on the map. There was only 2 units that were available to do it. And I would have to assume this thing was probably, you're not accounting for strength points individually in this game. It's flip, it's shaken, it's disrupted, it's broken. There's no, you go from a 5 to a 4 to a 3 to a 2 to a 1, like in your tactical or your Great Battles games or line of battle, stuff like that. But I would have to say, if you took all these counters here that are flipped over on their battle-worn side, and you said those were 50% casualties, there's actually quite a lot here. Again, the Union was just never able to establish anything. The Confederate forces, it's overwhelming. And then they get some units in here that have strengths of 10, like Pender, who the Union got lucky with Pender, and they got lucky with Archer, that they weren't able to execute full movement in combat. They just were never able. Pender got stoned. He couldn't even. He got one of those orders where he couldn't even move. He got a limited activation. Thomas got a limited activation. Tolliver got a limited activation. Ronald was very safe. Ronald would be, if you were giving 3 stars like in a hockey game, Ronald's brigade would have gotten 3 stars. Early's brigade would have gotten 2 stars. The Union artillery would have gotten the last star, because they did some pretty good damage. Outside of that, though, the Union was pretty much, I can't say completely ineffective. They don't have the force to deal with this, and they don't have any reinforcements. So, I mean, if this thing had to go on another turn or 2, the Confederates would take these 2 victory locations. At least that one. I'm thinking maybe both of them, because you have early Archer, maybe Pender gets in here. These forces, the Union forces that are here, they would have had to pull back. Somewhere along this line, if this thing had gone 2 or 3 more turns, the Union would have been back here defending this intersection here, which is worth 10 points, okay? But, like I said, this was only 5 turns long. All right. System. Interesting. Unique. Different. Same as unique. Fun to play with. Not as much paperwork for accountability, and still a pretty darn decent representation of a Civil War battle at regiment level. Nice clean counters, big numbers, easy to identify, although I will say the Pender activation chip doesn't match the yellow. It's like a pea green or something. I think that's just a color boo-boo. Gorgeous maps. Rules are simple. I know a couple guys said something about the rule book not being laid out, in any kind of super good sequence. Yeah, I commented on one thing that could be tidied up a little bit. I did not notice, or I didn't look. Yeah, no index, but you got the table of contents in the front. I was able to find stuff. Yeah, a couple items I had to search. I was doing a lot of page flipping when I was looking at like close combat sequence, then having to go look for how break tests work, or maybe I had to go flip and find out exactly what panic meant a couple times. So you have a lot of morale/cohesion rules in this game that can cause things to happen, and the charts for it they're actually pretty decent. I got a lot of them that were in the severe category for close combat, and boy, you can get some seriously disastrous results. And then you can get that lucky odd result for close combat where the attacker takes the punishment. Like I know I rolled on a close combat, I rolled a 3 and then a 1 on the green table for routine. And the 3 was nothing happened, but the 1 was the attacker takes a morale hit. And here's the funny part. It's this guy right here, and he was an 8 strength unit attacking a 1 strength unit, and he took the beating. Actually, he took a depletion, which is you flip him, and then he took a morale hit. So an unsuccessful attack. And that's what I like about games that have that in them, where you might not, you might have the numbers, but that unit that you're attacking, or that unit that's attacking you that's weaker, they might be pumped up. They might be on an adrenaline rush. They might have a good commander. They might have a good position. Maybe they flanked you. Maybe they surprised you or something like that. Other games that are like that, OCS, I think about OCS with the surprise roll before you determine combat and stuff. How, a minimal attack or a terrible defense can actually turn into their favor because of that. So, yeah, I think this was going to be a wipe if this was to go any farther. A total wipe. As of right now, at the end of the game, you total up on the broken track, which we'll spin this around. Hopefully you guys can see this. So you go to the broken track over here, and you check the units on their full strength side and their strength points. So 3, 9, 10, 7, whatever. And you total all those up. And then you do victory point locations, which there was only one that was taken by one side, and that was the Confederates took this one right here, and that was worth 5 points. So it ended up being the Confederates had 28 victory points. The Union had 17. So you subtract the Confederate from the Union, it was a minus 11, which was 1 point short of being a super victory for the Confederates. It ended up being it was 1 point into being a Confederate moderate victory. So tier 2 victory for the Confederates. I think it probably was going to get worse Hey, these are fun. This is fun. This is a series of games that I will maintain. Now, here's my question, Herman, if you should watch this all the way through, because I didn't get to preview the Gettysburg game. I would have loved to have previewed that game. Is the new Gettysburg game in your Kickstarter, is that along the same system as this? Is this along the blind sword system, or did you completely redo it to be something completely different? I really would like to know that, because I will tell you this. I know it would probably be each turn would be phenomenally long for chip pull at that scale of a game, which most Gettysburg games at a tactical level regiment anyhow. But I'm imagining what the chip pull would be like. But if it is, I'll say this, it'll probably be one hell of a fun game to play. With very, very good and mixed results, I would say. So, negatives about this thing? Not really. I mean, like I said, maybe a few more of the shaken and disrupted counters. A couple of the event chits, like I said, I pulled some of them out of the way just to get them out of the game, like the fatigue ones. I get what the fatigue ones would do, how you can suffer morale hits with it, but it was kind of hard for me solo to employ those and use them correctly, so I just pulled them from the game and used all the rest of them, which worked out pretty good. I mean, I loved the firefight. I loved Rebel Yell. Jackson's Rusty Sword was a good one. Command Confusion was a great one. That can really jack up what you're trying to accomplish. And if you tell a brigade, hey, you're on attack, and then you roll, they play that confusion chit, and they roll, and all of a sudden you're in a rally or a regroup mode. Your attack just got wasted, and the unit's activation has been done. Never used really Quick March. I think I used Quick March once or twice. Confident for the Union. I think I had one on the last turn, but they never had the opportunity because of close combat on their end just never really happened. And then the Brigade Reserve movement, never had that either because all the units had to be adjacent to each other within the brigade in order to do it. All right, so all in all, good game. Very good. Better than average. Definitely better than an average game. If you sit down and played this in a day, you could play this. You could play a 7, 8, 9, 10 turn scenario in a day. At this kind of scale, easily, I think. You just got to sit down and focus and do it, because the way the activations, the way the chits get drawn, the way the random events get drawn, fog of war, stuff like that, some things will just completely get canceled and you'll just skip right on to the next chit draw. All right, so there you have it. Stonewall Sword, Blind Sword System, Revolution Games. I think this was 2015. It's a Herman Luttman game. It's worth it. If you have it, play it. If you don't have it, I'm sure you can get one out there somewhere. Get your hands on it and play it. I wouldn't doubt if Revolution Games still probably has some, because I think I bought a bunch of these during their sale, or a bunch of the whole. I think I bought most of the whole series during their sale. So enjoyed it, and you'll probably see me playing more. All right, gang, let's get this thing posted so y'all can see what's happened. Talk to you soon.